everyone. Welcome again to I Got the Recipe for You. Thank you for joining me. Today we are making a chocolate mocha dulce de leche cake. Is that right? Mm-hmm. So this recipe is courtesy of Pies and Taco. So first, let's go over the ingredients for our cake. So I already have in here a half a cup of salted butter, or 1 stick. I'm using salted. You can use unsalted if you like. I have 1 cup of sugar, 2 large eggs. I have 2/3 cup of milk, and this is room temperature. And also the butter is softened at room temperature. Okay. I have 2 teaspoons of vanilla. This recipe is going to call for 2/3 cup of hot chocolate. Of hot coffee. It calls for 2/3 cup of hot coffee. So right now I've just got like a heaping teaspoon of instant coffee, and I'll add my hot water. I'll add it to my hot water when it's time. 1.5 cups of flour. I have the 1/3 cup of cocoa powder. I have 1.5 teaspoon of baking powder. I have 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and I'm using 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now, if you are going to use unsalted butter, then you should use 3/4 teaspoon of salt. So first thing, you're going to heat your oven to 350. I believe it'll take the cake about maybe 20 to 25 minutes. I'm not sure, but I'm going to check after about 20. I'll let you know. So I'm going to spray my pans with baking spray. And then I'm also, you don't have to do it both, but I'm also going to add a sheet of a parchment round at the bottom. And you can just take some parchment paper and just cut it out in a circle if you want. Sift our dry ingredients. So I've got a bowl and a sifter strainer. And I'm gonna add my flour.
Why'd you put the butter in the bigger bowl?
Because I'm gonna cream the stuff in there, and then I'll add the dry to the wet. Okay. Here's the cocoa powder. Here is the baking soda, baking powder, and my salt. And I'm just gonna sift these together. And push out, push the lumps through. Okay, we'll set this aside. And I'm gonna go ahead and add my vanilla extract and my milk. You're gonna start creaming the butter. Then I'm gonna add my sugar. I'm gonna cream this for a few minutes. Grab your spatula and scrape your bowl down. Gonna give it another mix for a few minutes. This is a brand new recipe for me. I hope it turns out well. I'm making this because my daughter asked for this for her birthday this year. Okay, now I'm going to add my eggs. I'm going to go in one at a time. are dry and the wet. I'm gonna start with dry, add some wet, more dry, wet, and then finish with dry. And I'll scrape the bowl down as I'm going. So when we get done and mixing this and we get our cake in the oven, then we'll talk about the Dulce de Leche and the icing. Okay, I'm gonna get 2/3 cup of hot water. It's gonna throw my instant coffee in. The water's cloudy because this is the same cup that I just used. The same measuring cup, yeah, that I just had the milk in. So I'll give this a little stir, and then I'm gonna mix the coffee in. I'm gonna slap and scrape this down to kind of help the batter come together. All right, guys, our batter is done. All right, so we're gonna pour these into our two 8-inch rounds. If you want to be precise, probably the best way if you want to make sure the cakes are even is to put them on the scale. Or measure them out cup by cup, but I'm just going to eyeball it. Give my cake a light tap to knock out any air bubbles. And I'm gonna put them in the middle of my oven. And I'm gonna set a timer for, I'm gonna go for 18 minutes. I'll check it after that, and we'll come back and rejoin. Dulce de Leche, this is something you need to do ahead of time. There's a couple different ways you can make it. What I did was I took 2 cans of condensed milk. You may only need 1 can, but I did 2 just in case. And I put it in a pot of water and I submerged it. I made sure the water covered it a couple inches. I brought it to a boil, and then I let it simmer for about 3.5 to 4 hours. After the time, take your cans out and let them completely cool off. I think the lady from Pies and Tacos said you need to let your cans sit for a couple hours after you take them out the water. I did mine yesterday. So this is how it comes out. It comes out all thick. You need to take a spoon or something and get it all out the can. And so now I'm just going to just whip it up to see if I can get it. Huh? Oh, yes. Thank you. Also, before you put your cans in the water, make sure you take your labels off. So I'm just mixing it to see, I guess to whip it and get it to where it's smoother, I guess easier to spread or pipe, whatever you choose to do. Okay, so I'm gonna let this sit now while we finish the cake. I'm just gonna put some plastic wrap on this and set it aside till we're ready. Okay, we'll see you then. All right, guys, our cakes are ready. Mine baked for 23, so I would suggest you bake from about 20 to 25 minutes. I checked mine after 18. So now we're gonna take the cakes out of the pan. I'm pretty sure mine will just come right out, but just to show you just in case, if you need to go around the edges of your pan with a knife, put your hand underneath to support it, turn it over, comes right out. Let's take our parchment paper off. Let that sit. And we're gonna do the same thing with the next layer. Okay. And so we are gonna let these sit while we get started on our icing. And for the icing, we are making a Dulce de Leche Mocha Swiss Meringue Buttercream. Okay, for our Dulce de Leche Mocha Swiss Meringue Buttercream, we're going to need 1/3 of a cup of cooled melted chocolate chips, which I have here. I have not melted yet. I'm going to do that next. I have 20 tablespoons or 280 grams of room temperature butter. I've got 4 large egg whites. I've got a cup of sugar, 1/4 a cup of the Dulce de Leche that I made, and I've got a tablespoon of espresso powder. So first, I am going to pop my microwave, put them on about 13 seconds, take it out, stir it till it gets melted, and then I will let that cool. In the meantime, for the Swiss meringue, you can take a pot of water and simmer it on the stove and get a bowl, a glass bowl to put on top like a double boiler. Okay, had my chocolate in the microwave. Just gonna stir it to melt. Okay, gonna let this cool off. Okay, now so for our buttercream, you need to put your bowl over a pot of simmering water, but make sure the water is not touching the bottom of the bowl. You just want the steam, not the water actually touching it. Okay, so we're going to add our sugar, and I'm going to add my egg whites in and just whisk it. This needs to reach a temperature of 140 degrees. And so this melts the sugar, and this heats the egg whites up so that they can reach 140, so that they will be safe to consume. And make sure that when you're checking the temperature, make sure you don't have your thermometer touching the bottom of the glass, because you want the temperature of the, you might get a false reading if you have your thermometer touching the bottom of the glass, touching the bottom of the bowl. And be careful, because your bowl can get hot, which is why now I'm using a towel to hold onto the side of it. I'm going to check my temperature again. So as you can see, it's getting frothy. So this is just now we're just gonna keep stirring and checking until we get to the right temperature. I'm going to pour the mixture into a cooled bowl. Oh, hot, 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 hot. We're gonna beat this until we get the stiff peaks. Okay, so I'm just gonna scrape this down, get the last of my butter all down in here. And I'm gonna drop my espresso powder in here. All right, let's get this going again. Done with this right now, so we're going to start to ice the cake. This icing is soft. Okay, I'm putting a little bit of frosting down. I have to try to keep the cake in place. Did you want this in the middle or just the Dulce de Leche in the middle? Or both? Both. Okay. Well, we'll see how this works out. How's this looking? Think I should do more? Maybe a bit. Yeah. I guess that's okay. Okay, so I'm gonna take some of the Dulce de Leche and just see about spreading this out then. So this isn't the prettiest, but I don't have a piping bag right now. And actually I've never used a piping bag before. So I'm going to do this. It doesn't look the prettiest, but this is just for us. And as long as it tastes good. If I make this again, I definitely will try to use a piping bag. It would probably be a good idea to ice this and then put it in the refrigerator, but it's late and my daughter has been waiting for her birthday cake, so I doubt if we're gonna wait, are we?
Probably not.
She said probably not. So if I were making this for someone else, I would put this icing in the refrigerator and let it chill and then do the cake. But like I said, since it's just here for us and my daughter's been waiting for her cake, we are just going to we're just gonna cut it when we're done.